dozens in the dusk, throw it all away. You see a light wherever you go. You have to face it again and again.
Hello, everybody. This is Hold My Strength 456. Thanks for tuning in if you did. Um, so I'm going. So this video, um, I'm just showing a video off of Super Metroid Justin Bailey. Um, I might show off another hack. Uh, in the same video, I'm not sure. Or honestly, those hacks aren't that big of a deal to talk about. Um, some of them do a few graphics edits. In the original Metroid, they used there was a cheat in it that allowed that changed Samus's appearance to look more like this. And there wasn't anything like that in Super Metroid, but people made a hack that later did that. The hacking community is pretty big. They've made a few thousands of their own versions of Super Metroid. Hacks like this, they didn't really do very much to. They just edited like the graphics, like Samus's graphics. Um, if you have any experience with ROM editing or whatever, you can do whatever you want to the game using like Smile. That's mainly what people use if they're using if they're editing Super Metroid. The most recent build was Smile RF. When with the newest build, I've learned how to do some graphics editing and stuff. Not that I'm probably gonna want to do it. You need another program for the graphics editing that I'm talking about. If you're just wearing the change like Samus's way Samus's colors are on her suit or whatever, then you can just use the palette editor. You have to get the palettes like in super. You have to get the palettes from a copied ROM. Um, just a backup ROM. Um, of a of your main ROM, just a copied file, you know. Um, um, that you would probably use for Super Metroid. Um, Download the suit palettes. Well, export the suit palettes from the palette editor. Um, Load the ROM in a certain palette editor like Tile Layer Pro or YYCHR, and you go to a Smile or FFAQ. There's a they have a list of where all the graphics and stuff are in Super Metroid. Are located. Now there are a lot of graphics, and it would take like that you would have to edit. Even just small parts of Samus's suit, you know, like Samus's feet or and sometimes there are multiple parts. Sometimes they just like go pixels down from the parts that like they go pixels down from up or from. So yeah, you have to be a bit of a pixel artist in order to do that kind of stuff, and a lot of patience. But the fact that I'm talking about was made by Zofar, I believe. I can't really remember. He's a big ROM hacker who actually I think he's done more than just ROM hacking. Actually, but um, he's a programmer or whatever, um, from my understanding. But um, there are some really big hacks like Super Metroid Phazon. That's probably the most popular one there is. Um, that add a bunch of new rooms, add a bunch of completely. Well, they changed some of Samus's graphics to look a little different. Um, Not as many as they do in this game. Um, Smile RF now can load certain ROMs, not certain ROMs that you have patched. Normally, once you're done with the ROM, they download a patch for you to patch to like a another Super Metroid ROM that will, yeah. Um, um, it's generally what the way how you would how hacks work. You need a certain program to do that called tile. Well, no, you need. It's called Lunar IPS in order for you to. I think there's another way to do it, but I I've I did it once. I don't remember exactly how. I think I could use just Smile alone to do it. I don't know. Um, or I needed Tyler. I needed that other program as well. It was called soft patching, but it's something I don't exactly have to do. With Smile, Super Metroid Integrated Level Editor for short, you can. Smile RF is a much more advanced. Well, it's the latest build that you can get, and it's the best one with the least amount of issues and stuff. And um, every other build, for some odd reason, that I'd use or whatever, whenever I couldn't really graphics edit it, and um, I there might have been a way to do it. I don't. Um, I'm not sure. I don't exactly remember. Maybe I just didn't know how to do it before that. I don't know. Um, but it's the most latest build, and then it's the there is a lot more features with it. There's a lot more things you can do with it. I've seen it. Um, if you're looking to go with something a little less demanding, just go with Smile JX. But um, in order, you may have to do some downloading in order to get that one. I think you have to do the same thing with RF. You have to download like multiple copies of Smile. Because for some reason I noticed that not all of the files are contained within the download, and I have to find the original downloads of older builds and then combine them into that, and then they finally work. But um, which is kind of weird. I learned about this from a friend, and um, and I figured this out on my own about needing to do that in order for Smile to work. But not that I have, not that I'll probably be doing any big hacks in the future. I never really did anything like that, but um, it's something to note that I probably can make a video game, but um, if I really wanted to, technically, I'm just using a previous video game and adding to it and taking the stuff away, but if you do enough to it, you're practically doing that, but it's just with the SNES stuff, what the SNES could originally do, I guess, but there are other programs that you could use to edit other games. There's one for the original Metroid. There's one for the Prime games, even. I've never really tried that one out before, but if I were to really, really sit there and take the time to figure out what I need to do in order to make everything look good, in graphics editing or whatever, I've had the patience and took the time to figure out what everything is, and um, it's something I could do, but it takes a lot of patience. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff you would need to edit, and yeah, there are other things you can do with Smile. You can add rooms to it. You can take stuff away. You can make the ROM. I mean, add like a certain amount of data to it, so you can, if you, just in case you make a room too big or whatever, um, you may want to have a hex editor on hand, because every time I've tried to make a ROM or whatever, every time something, well, a ROM big enough for some reason it would, to be honest, but it might be just the case that if I were to open up a hex editor, it runs over other pieces of data. That probably is what it is. Why that keeps happening to me. Um, of course, it's, and if to avoid that from happening, I could just not add as much to it. Um, Hex editor is probably a third program you might want to use. You can do a lot of the same things in it that Smile can, but it can do but because you're looking at small bytes of data or whatever, like at a time, it's a lot harder and a lot, yeah. It's not like I can't make ROMs or whatever, because I've had completed builds before. It's really easy just to change the different, how much damage Samus's crap does or whatever, and the enemy and PLM stuff, how much damage the enemies do, and how much the PLMs give you, how much damage you need to do how many hits you need to do to the doors with specific types of weapons. It's really easy to change that stuff. And adding one thing to it isn't going to really hurt the game. But adding as much as I normally do whenever I try to make a hack that I would want to do that winds up happening. But Not that it would be that big of a deal. I mean, um, I said I didn't really have very much interest in it, but I mean, I can do some. I'm pretty good with computer graphics. Well, I'm pretty good with editing graphics and stuff like with Photoshop and stuff. Um, but sitting down and for pixel editing or whatever, it takes a lot more patience, as I've said time and time again. All you're doing with pixel editing is you're just changing the data that the graphics are that are already there. That's all you really need to mess with or whatever. I'm pretty sure if I were to edit all those things, I wouldn't ROM at all. But
Um,
like I said, I've had complete builds of ROMs before. I've just me making a slightly harder version of the game with enemies taking more hits and stuff. That's pretty easy for me to do. I mean, I can do that in a day. But if I took more time in it, I could probably. Eh. With Smile RF, editing the main thing would be pretty easy for me. There's not very many graphics to that. There wasn't very many graphics to like the death animation. I could have edited that pretty easily. That wasn't very hard. But if you've seen it for yourself, there's a lot of Samus graphics for a suit or whatever that you would have to edit. Generally, this is practically the same thing. The dialogue from Super Metroid, they just changed a lot of the images there. I'll show off a few minutes of this game. Just showing Samus's thing off. I mean, you can make Samus nude. It's not going to look very good because it's SNES graphics, but it is possible. I'm not trying to get anybody to do that. I doubt very many people would want to do that, but I found with this particular ROM, for some reason, I can't open up and it's Smile RF, but I can open up like Super Metroid Phase on it, which is kind of weird. But I suppose I could use that to figure out where most of the items are in Super Metroid Phase on, figure out how to get them because I've never 100% in the game. But now that I can do that, but. there are quite a few hacks that have just changed the enemies, damage outputs and stuff. Things that could, some things that don't even wouldn't even take that long. You know, you could probably just do yourself. I have never really seen a ROM though that took away the ability to like do most of the glitches you could probably do in the game. Um, well, I never really seen a hack, you know, that took away most of the glitches in the game. That took away that ability, and it just made it to where you would probably originally have been able to play this game without being able to do all the crazy sequence breaking that you can, even the wall jumps and stuff. Um, and I'm not saying that it should decrease the missile count because I was thinking actually about increasing it like to 255, like it was in like Metroid Prime, making some of the beams and stuff fit with that too. But a ROM like that, you know, that's generally something that I would kind of be interested in making, but to be honest, but I've never seen anything like that on like Metroid Construction, but generally we can find a lot of that stuff at. Some patches require unheaded ROMs, some require headed ROMs for you to be able to use that. Use some of them, and some of them are ASM patches. I can't exactly remember how to do those right now, but mm, the morph ball still looks the same, but eh. I think that's how it was in the original Metroid as well, but that's how mine would probably differentiate if I that's a new trick I learned. um Decided to start doing. I've practiced a little bit in it. It's faster than just shooting the little shottable blocks a few times and then jumping on to a few of them. The ones I'm talking about, they just add hits and stuff to these enemies. Change a few of the graphics that not very many, but um, mostly what they do to the graphics, they just change the way Samus's suit looks. Just so they probably just use the palette editor and smile most of the time, but I doubt they did anything with a graphics editor really. But If you were to get like suit upgrades, if you weren't seeing the opening thing or whatever, it just changes the way Samus's bodysuit looks, like a swimsuit. I get, I don't know, sort of. I really hope I don't take too long with this. I haven't had much practice doing it this way. It depends on where you are sometimes too, I noticed. Because if you're like too far to one side, you'll wind up diagonaling into the wall there, and because whenever you do this or whatever, your it's sending the wall jumps momentum. It's sending it that direction, or it could just be because it's doing a diagonal bomb jump one or the other. There we go. If I wall jumped there, it would have taken me a lot longer. I'm not talking about increasing the damage of certain enemies or whatever, just taking away certain. Um, I never really seen a hack like that on Metroid Construction. I never really have. That would be something interesting, I would say, but. Because the animations are a little different in this game. It's throwing me off a little bit. See, for some reason it looks slower. I'm not sure if that's because I'm recording with the screen recorder. I could also record using the SNES built-in recorder, but it only records the in-game sound with the game. I can't record anything else, so it would be kind of post commentary in that way, because I don't really have a way to record using an audio recorder with a phone anymore, but. So I just use a PowerSoft screen recorder, but I could do it the other way though, or I could have just did it the way I did in the last couple of videos, pre-record them and then record over them while watching them or whatever, and Windows whatever the fuck it was called. The video player, but Windows Media Player, yeah. Most of the time, a lot of they look down on fan hacks or mods and stuff like this or whatever. You know, the developers. They seem to do that a lot now these days. I don't know why a lot of them are being like that because we helped them. What did the um, the sales of their games? But I guess they just want to be the way they are and be greedy. And even the certain games like Super Metroid Phase On was intending to be a pretty much a completely different game. They still have something to say about it, you know. I mean, I'm not saying every company is like that because Sega, but they did what they allowed uh, uh, the people that work on Sonic Mania to do, you know. But um, yeah. If I ran out of there, I would have been able to make it over there, but I wasn't thinking. If I made a jump high enough there, I would have been able to get over there from the knockback, but whatever. Okay, that doesn't look right. What the heck? Let me. Um. Nintendo, unless they finally decide to, I guess people won't look on them as bad if they finally figure out a way to do something with like, um, ROMs, you know, using them on emulators and stuff. But I mean, there is kind of one way, but it's for it to be legal. The only way really is to, you know, put your own copy of the game onto a computer by legal means, but which is generally everything I've done, you know, but if you I it's still pretty bad though what they did with like the Metroid 2 remake. That these guys got together and did or whatever, and then they came out with one themselves. I wonder how that went. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is legal. They don't look down on this, but they still are. If we went up there and brought it up to them, then they would. Yeah, you know. Yeah, if it's just something that we just pass around the internet, and you know, I'm pretty sure it's all right. But like friends see it and stuff. But I'm pretty sure because they existed some mods and stuff or whatever, you know. But which are practically the same thing. But missed. Whatevs. Man, this is. What the heck is going on with me today? What the heck? With this boss fight? Holy crap. I missed 3 super missiles there. I mean, you normally have to hit him with 2, but still. You could use charge shots on this guy too, I believe. They still work, but the beam does charge shot does less damage right now than regular missiles do. I'm pretty sure. What the crap? Unless I just had 1 missile left. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. See you guys later.
Throw it all away. No one can break you, nobody can tear you. You live an endless life forever. All the darkness, the dozens in the dusk. Throw it all away. You see a light wherever you go.